This is Kate Baconsale. You're listening to Baconsale.
Kent Dunn, did you order the code red?
You don't have to answer that question.
I'll answer the question. You want answers?
I think I'm entitled to.
You want answers?
I want the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
Did you order the code red?
I did the job.
Did you order the code red?
You're absolutely right. I did.
Okay. There's your Mountain Dew. Now, did you also order the onion rings?
It's like yelling, but it's like pretend.
Welcome to Baconsale. I'm Joel.
I'm Kent.
And I'm Zack.
We'd like to thank you for listening to our last show, our Gilmore Girls show.
Yeah.
Wow. I had a fun time, guys.
You
Thank
sure did.
Thank you to Alicia again for suggesting that show.
Have you been watching more of it since?
Yes. Yes, absolutely yes. And I think a lot more people out there, though I think a lot more listener out there are too.
Me too. Yeah,
You did?
I know.
Aw.
Maybe I'll fire up the Netflix again. I don't
Still
know.
haven't yet?
No, I
Oh,
won't.
okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
But that's not what we're talking about today. What are we talking about today, Zach?
We're talking Tom Cruise today. Word on the street is he has a movie that's finally coming out.
So you're saying we're swinging the pendulum all the other way from estrogen to
Too much
testosterone?
So many explosions and just running.
Yeah,
Not
just
even explosions. It's just running.
Just running.
Yeah.
It does feel a little weird.
And practical stunts.
Yeah.
It does feel a little weird though, because we did the Bruce Willis show not too many episodes ago, because he's retired. His career is kind of done.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise still has plenty of gas
He's
left
got
in the engine.
6 more Mission Impossibles in him.
No, he's only doing 2 more. You stop that right now. Yeah, you were probably
Just wait
right.
till it comes first full circle and he becomes the new Jim Phelps who betrays the Mission Impossible team. And
I
starts
love
all over
it.
again. So, but yes, we it's kind of weird, but we want to talk about Tom Cruise for a number of reasons, and they don't have to be retired for us to talk about.
No.
We can do actor shows for anyone, right?
Right. Little
Yeah.
tribute.
Yeah, why not?
I mean, he's one of the world's biggest movie stars.
One of the I
And
might
maybe
say,
used to be the biggest movie star in the world. And what is a movie star now anyways?
I was thinking about this yesterday. I think there are other stars as big as Tom Cruise, but I don't think there are that many bigger than him.
that sounds like a good
Right?
thing.
Like there are other stars I think maybe on his level, but I can't think of many that are
or that have
'cause
been
you
consistently weathering fame, even though he's had bad times.
Yeah, you put him on what? The level of Brad Pitt? Easily, right?
Oh, actually
As
far
as,
higher.
Yeah, as far as movie stardom goes.
Well, and I feel like his name is going to be one of those names that continues throughout history. Kind of like how there's certain names from actors of the 40s or 50s that you still hear and you're like, oh yeah,
like Cary Grant. Exactly.
Yeah, that is no problem.
Like Gene Clavicle.
Who's Gene Clavicle?
Oh, you don't know?
Oh, he's from a very famous movie.
What movie is that?
It's. I think it was a takeoff on Robin Hood.
I don't think so.
Anatomy of a Murder,
Oh,
probably.
That's
yeah.
right. I forgot.
Yeah. So, no, but I feel that Tom Cruise, and we're going to prove this wrong with some of our choices here, but I feel like Tom Cruise, in my opinion, chooses the most consistently great scripts of any movie star out there.
Really?
And yeah, he's had his flaws, but he is so good at choosing roles because he is one of these actors that kind of always plays himself. Keanu Reeves-esque, but with better ability.
I've talked about this before on Baconsale, but I don't think Tom Cruise has much range.
But
The range he's in works for him.
it totally works.
What I've heard it described as Tom Cruise is in, maybe he's in bad movies, but he's never bad in them because he chooses his projects correctly.
I think he's rarely in bad movies.
I think he's
Truthfully.
really bad in them, occasionally. But I do think, like, whenever I see Tom Cruise in a movie, it's like, oh, there's Tom Cruise in a flight suit.
Do
There's
you
Tom
think-
Cruise with long hair.
do you think-
there's Tom Cruise with gray hair.
Yeah, but you know you're going to be thrilled regardless.
But what I'm saying is, I don't see, he doesn't disappear into the role. It's just Tom Cruise.
Has he become
in
a
the
genre
situation.
unto himself?
I would say so.
I would believe so.
But in a good way.
Like if you see, almost like The Rock, right? Like if you see The Rock's in a movie, you immediately
You just
have an
compare Tom
idea.
Cruise to The Rock.
it's like,
I think it's a decent comparison.
I would say people now are more excited about franchises than movie stars. Franchises can make money, whereas sometimes movie stars don't. And I think that Tom Cruise, The Rock, like you said, they're franchises in and unto themselves.
you put their name at the top of the poster, you're going to get some dollars.
Yeah, that's all you need to know.
Do you feel like he creates almost his own, not like cinematic universe, but like if you go, oh, I'm going to make assumptions about that movie, whether or not correct, because he's in it.
Yes.
Right? To me, whether it's Minority Report or Jack Reacher or Mission Impossible, as a person who, spoilers, hasn't seen any of those movies,
What?
I feel like it's all the same.
Wait. You haven't seen those movies?
Oh,
What's that?
how many movies has he been in?
He's
probably
been-
like 42 or something.
No, actually,
like
I
that.
have it here. He has 49 acting credits on IMDb, so just under 50, but 44 of those have been completed.
I've seen 6.
I just okay.
Wait, are they all Mission Impossibles? Because that's all.
Hey,
Six
Zach,
Mission Impossible movies.
Only 2 of them.
We're ready for your excuse. Go ahead.
I don't think I like him.
What?
What is? Why? You don't have to be contrary to every opinion we have here.
I don't know. I just
Wait, what don't you like about him?
I don't know.
Wait, when you say 6 movies, what 6 movies have you seen? Like, have you seen the big ones?
I've seen Rock of Ages.
Out of all the movies,
Zach.
I've seen War of the Worlds. We watched it in school.
Zach.
why?
I really liked Mission. I when I was a kid, I said, guys, I know a movie cooler than The Matrix.
Oh no,
It's Mission Impossible 2.
Wait, here's what Zach did. Hey, I'm at Walmart. It's 11:30 at night. I need a movie. Here's this Tom Cruise 6-pack for $5. What's it? What are the other 3 movies?
Zach,
in
no,
that pack?
no, Zach. I want to point out the 3 you have mentioned so far.
Are they in your bottom 5 of Tom Cruise?
Yes,
Yes.
You're picking the worst.
Did you see
ones.
The Mummy as well?
I've never seen the
This
movie.
is,
Okay, shocking.
This is like, this is like going to like a Chipotle or a Costa Vida and being like, I want the burnt rice at the bottom of the tray there. Put that in my burrito.
Hey,
and then eating it going, this is not good.
Hey, I've seen Top Gun.
Okay, good.
And
There's
Do you like Top Gun, Zach?
No.
Ah!
I like
Guys.
the idea of Top Gun.
Let's all go easy on Zach right now because now I'm feeling bad. Like the listener's going to hate you.
No,
Hey.
I will. It depends on these final 2.
I've seen Mission Impossible 1 and 2. I've mentioned that.
You said
And
1.
then,
Okay.
I've seen Days of Thunder,
Wait,
the NASCAR movie.
that came out
it's a lesser
27 years before you were born?
Yeah.
How have you seen Days of Thunder of all movies?
I've seen Interview with the Vampire.
What's so funny about that, Zach?
That's fine. That's
What's so funny about that?
one of,
movie. I
one of the
hated it.
best vampire movies out there.
I mean,
Of the great list.
better than Twilight, I guess.
Wow, 6.
Yeah, and
Zach,
those 6.
I've counted. Out of those 44, I've seen 33.
Wow.
Kent?
39 movies.
39
Tom
Wow.
Cruise movies.
Wow.
I love him.
Really?
Yeah.
Why don't you marry him?
I mean, well, here's the thing. I haven't. There's like a Star Search sort of like search for his next spouse, and I don't think I meet the criteria.
Yeah. It's weird, though. You look at his IMDb credits. Out of all those credits, not one TV show. And one of them was a music video, I think.
Yes,
Like Amy
Mann's. Yes,
But it's like he has never been on TV. This guy went straight to movies and is
yeah, not even streaming or anything like that.
He wasn't on the 6th season of NCIS.
maybe,
No,
maybe
he
it's
sure
a
wasn't.
cadaver.
Huh.
But let's we're getting a little ahead of
Yeah.
ourselves. If we may bring it back.
Yes.
Bring it back.
Thomas Allen Triple.
Do you guys have do you have an idea of what his real name is?
No, I have no idea.
Thomas Cruise Mapother the Fourth.
You've been really good with names lately.
Mapother.
Mapother,
yes.
Mapother.
Yep.
Thomas Cruise Mapother the Fourth was born July 3rd.
Fourth?
What?
Yeah.
He's the 4th. Was born on July 3rd. He was not born on the 4th of July.
Is that a movie? Is it?
Yeah.
Yes, it's one he was nominated for an Oscar for. He was born in Syracuse, New York, to electrical engineer Thomas Cruise Mapother the Third, and his wife
Zach.
and his mom, Mary Lee.
Fourth.
No, but her maiden name was Pfeiffer. No relation, by the way. Yeah, I did look into that. But he did not like his father. He described him as, quote, a merchant of chaos, a bully, and a coward. So not a good relationship there. And after his father passed away, his mom did remarry. But he has 3 sisters and 1 notable cousin.
Notable to you,
No, William Mapother. You'd recognize him if you saw him. Some of you...
character actor.
He's been in like 5 films with Tom Cruise, but he was also Ethan from Lost, if you know who
Once again,
Ethan is.
notable to Joel.
Yes.
One notable
You'd probably
cousin.
recognize him.
He's a guy in things. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, you'd
precisely.
probably recognize him. So, yeah, he's
I feel
probably
like he has actually been on lots of episodes of like those like TV crime
NCIS.
shows, and
Probably, yeah.
he's always the guy who did it.
But Tom Cruise actually became involved in drama in the 4th grade. Him and 6 other boys put on a play at the Carleton Elementary School Drama Festival.
Yeah.
So he was into it pretty young. He also, though, then decided he wanted to try to become a priest.
So what happened to stop him from becoming a priest
Well, he got expelled from the seminary for drinking and becoming interested in acting.
as a young teenager?
Yes.
He was a linebacker his senior year in high school, and also he was caught with beer before the game and got kicked off the team. And then he joined the school production of Guys and Dolls.
Yes. And he, I don't know if this is an excuse or not, but he he attended 15
He did.
schools in 14 years.
Right.
He moved around a lot. And I'm
went-
glad that he tried football. I'm glad he tried plays, but it seemed
No,
like
he went from beer and football to dancing and craps.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I found this interesting because we talked about this with Bruce Willis, how he had a really rough childhood as far as stuttering issue.
Yeah.
Whereas Tom Cruise had a massive case of dyslexia.
Oh,
Yeah.
and didn't recover from it for a long time. Actually couldn't even read until his adult years.
Yeah, he had a
Are
rough time.
we sure he can now?
Oh, you take it easy.
No, really though.
No, he has claimed that his religion has cured him of his dyslexia. So
Right.
he says he's good now.
Okay.
But it's crazy. Like, so 18 years old, he moved to New York and immediately hit it big.
Well, he started doing stuff. There was a busboy in New York for a while, and he wanted to try out for. It wasn't going well for New York, so he actually ended up moving to Los Angeles and trying out for television roles, which we know he didn't get because he's not no credits there. But his first bit part was in a 1981 film called Endless Love, starring Brooke Shields. That's where the song comes from. However, I would not recommend watching that movie. It apparently is very, very saucy, and it was almost NC-17, and they got it down to an R rating just barely.
But how crazy.
He played Billy.
But like to be this late teenager and star in that, Taps, The Outsiders, All the Right Moves, Risky Business.
Well, because
which
Taps was later that year, after Endless Love.
all in that span of 5 years. And then he was in Legend, which was probably the first Tom Cruise movie I ever saw.
In 1985?
Yes.
Also, the first time he played a character named Jack. That's not going to be the last time.
Yeah, absolutely. And then at 23, and maybe I'm jumping ahead, Joel, but he starred in Top Gun.
Yeah. Well, so I want to talk about, just real quick, 1983 was a big year for him because he was in The Outsiders, All the Right Rooms, and Risky Business, all in that same year. And that kind of put him on the map, but not until Top Gun.
Yeah.
And then he almost walked into Top Gun in 1986, 3 years later, like a superstar, just walking into that role. And it became like a huge success for him and, well, for the Navy. Because it was basically a recruiting video. And then he partnered with his talent agent of his called Paula Wagner, and they became Cruise Wagner Productions in 1993. And they have worked very closely together ever since then, him and Paula Wagner.
And I love that as soon as he got famous, he started earning money. He bought a sister a car. He paid off another sister's school debt, everything like that. Like, this is someone
He
who...
didn't even give any money to the third sister.
No, but the notable cousin.
Yeah, he got some roles.
The notable cousin. It's my next novel.
But then he became, around that time of the 90s, he became a producer and then started getting much more involved in the filmmaking process. And he became very successful in both endeavors, both producing and acting. If his name was attached to a project,
Huge.
it would do well.
Yeah.
By the way, Cruise splits his time between homes in Beverly Hills, California, Clearwater, Florida, Dulwich, London, and East Grinstead, West Sussex.
Oh, wow.
So he's just hanging out in all those different homes and having a good time.
Cruise.
Tom Cruise.
He's been married 3 times to different actresses, Mimi Rogers, Nicole Kidman, and Katie Holmes.
Each were 33 when he divorced them. Kind of crazy, right?
Conspiracy.
He hates that age. He has that type. 32 and under, please.
He has 3 children, 2 of whom were adopted during his marriage to Nicole Kidman, and the other is his biological daughter that he had with Holmes. The Katie Holmes thing is interesting because that was a weird time for Tom Cruise.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because that was when he was on the Oprah Winfrey show, and he ended up jumping up and down on the couch and saying how much he loved her, which, props to him for loving a woman so much. But it was so excessive compared to everything he's done before. People were like, is he okay?
It was like a meme before memes were a thing.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it was definitely like wow, you're really saying a lot of things. Do you mean them? The methinks thou dost protest
he
too
was
much
saying-
sort of stuff.
Right. He was saying a lot of things that were not smart, I'll say, to not be mean here publicly. It's stuff he shouldn't have said out loud.
Well, and there was a leaked video of him. He's a member of the Church of Scientology, and there was a leaked video from a training video or an orientation video. I'm not sure what it was exactly, but him talking about different points of doctrine from the Church of Scientology, which did not go over well with a lot of people. Kind of some strong takes, hot takes, shall we say, on certain subjects like psychiatry and medicinal help and things like that. So it was a weird time, and I think a lot of people said, "Is this going to be the end of Tom Cruise's career?"
For a time, I think we all saw it as the end.
But I think it really goes to show, like, the longevity of the staying power, because it wasn't. Like,
Right.
He's carried on.
It's true.
And I'm actually looking here, and I don't know if you have a quick answer to this, but if you look at him by decade, right? What's your best Tom Cruise decade? Because you can pick them and go, well, he actually was great in the 80s. Well, he had a killer 90s. Maybe his 2000s were a little weak because of this controversy, but then he's in a resurgence somehow.
I disagree. I think his 2000s were great.
Really?
Other than his downfall, yeah.
Yeah. So he's had the good decades. If you just isolate like a decade of his career, pick one. It's better than most movie stars.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I mean, 49 credits on IMDb. That's not a lot of movies relatively to other big stars who have like over
Sam
100.
Jackson's been in like 400.
When you look at his work ethic, you can see why he only does generally one movie a year,
Generally
though.
so, yes. That was
Because when he researches a role, he will train for that role like no other person would. He will learn that skill.
Yeah. By the way, I also want to point out some other romantic attachments that Tom Cruise has had because I thought it was interesting, such as Melissa Gilbert, Rebecca De Mornay, Cher, and Penelope Cruz.
Oh, yeah. Cher?
Cher. She was in there.
And Penelope Cruz I get, but okay. Does that mean?
Zach, any idea? I mean, you obviously are a Tom Cruise connoisseur.
Yeah.
That was a good sell.
I'm a cruisosaur.
How many Academy Awards do you think Tom Cruise has won?
None.
That's your guess?
None.
This big superstar who everyone knows and has been in a lot of dramatic roles.
He's in too many action movies. None.
So do you think there's a stigma against an action star like him?
Yep. I think he doesn't.
Or do you think it's his own fault? Like the roles he does are not dramatic
choose
enough?
projects with teeth, right?
He was nominated for 3 Academy Awards.
Jerry Maguire.
Yeah, for Jerry Maguire, Born on the 4th of July, and Magnolia. Didn't win any of them. He's never won an Academy Award.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
He has received 3 Golden Globe Awards.
Yeah.
He doesn't.
I think he gave those
He
back
doesn't strike
recently.
me as that kind of actor, right? Compare him to Tom Hanks, right? Like Tom Hanks is like he's always doing this is going to be my Oscar. Like same thing with Meryl Streep,
In
right?
Big,
Right.
yeah,
They
definitely.
do those kind of roles.
It's true.
In the second half of their career. Tom Cruise is like, he's in The Mummy, huh?
Tom Cruise is like, I'm going to do some sit-ups and thrill everybody.
Yeah.
I'd watch that.
We have watched it.
Yeah. But his films, Tom Cruise's films, have grossed over $4 billion in North America alone and over $10 billion worldwide. He's one of the highest grossing box office stars of all time with 49 movies. The dude has power.
And he's
office
one
power.
person. Has he never starred in a superhero flick? I don't think he
Almost.
has. Almost Iron Man.
Yeah, he was almost cast as Iron
But
Man.
never. He's made that kind of money without being in a Marvel or DC movie.
Yeah.
Pretty astounding.
And not a lot of sequels aside from Mission Impossible.
Right.
But not a lot of sequels, which is interesting. Now, I wanted to point this out because I thought it was entertaining.
All right.
You guys remember Roger Ebert? We brought him up on the show before.
Roger Ebert.
He was reviewing Days of Thunder, and he noticed the similarities between some of Tom Cruise's films in the 80s that had come before that, and nicknamed a formula called the Tom Cruise picture. So here are the 9 key ingredients for the Tom Cruise picture. Number 1, the Cruise character.
Sure.
We all know what the Cruise
Standard.
character is. Number 2, the mentor. Number 3, the superior woman.
Yeah, generally, yeah.
Number 4, the craft he must hone. Number 5,
NASCAR.
the arena it takes place in. Number 6, the arcana or knowledge he must learn. Number 7, the trail or journey. Number 8, the proto-enemy. And number 9, the eventual enemy of the character.
Yeah.
Wow, which is
You start looking at his movies, you start reading through that list, you're like,
That's-
check.
in a
that's
way,
just a generic storytelling device, though.
well, it's true. But in
at
a
the
way,
same
he's
time-
almost become the mentor in a few of his movies. Because a lot of these still exist, even in Mission Impossible movies.
But I mean, think about it. The Cruise character in general, you know he's going to be probably a little cocky.
Yeah.
And needs to kind of learn something and learn a lesson and be humbled almost every single time.
And
That's kind of
prevail
his
in the
character.
end.
Yeah, and prevail in the end. Become a better person in the end.
Right.
I've heard that he's never wants to play, quote, the loser. He never wants to play like kind of the idiot. That's not his type. That's not his style.
I get that.
So I just thought it was interesting that you start looking at movies and be like, oh, yeah, this is a Tom Cruise picture. So just some random facts I want to bring up about Tom Cruise. Ken, anything else you want to bring up about him?
He improvised the risky business dance. In the script, it just said, this character dances. And so he made up that whole thing, which is pretty great. He also saved Ray-Bans from going under because in 3 of his movies in the 80s, they gave him a deal and he's like, cool. Every character will wear Ray-Bans and
now
look at
they're
him
like
now.
$150.
Exactly. It's ridiculous.
annoying.
Thanks, Tom Cruise.
But here's my question, by the way, Kent. Does he wear shades during the risky business dance?
yes.
You vote yes?
Oh, it's on the cover. No, he doesn't, but it's on the movie cover.
No, he doesn't.
Oh, no, this is like the Nelson Mandela effect.
He's inside in the dark.
There's no sunglasses in the risky business dance.
Or pants.
And you may think it is. Look it up. Because that's the Mandela effect. Kent's exactly right. I don't know why. I think it's the cover of him with the sunglasses, but he doesn't have sunglasses when he's actually dancing. So there you go. Little fun fact there.
All right, so should we get started on the categories for Tom Cruise movies that we have?
Yes, we have.
And Zach, you're playing along, right? Zach?
There are 13 categories,
And you only have seen 6 movies.
so no.
Yeah.
But you can chime in whenever you've seen one of these, Zach.
Okay, Joel.
You seem sure.
Yeah. Well, I think it's his biggest franchise. It's the reason he's most known. Gentlemen, I'd like to know your favorite Mission Impossible movie.
Joel, you go first.
I got to go with the OG.
Yeah.
I'm going with Mission Impossible, 1996. The synopsis, I'll bring it up. An American agent, under false suspicion of disloyalty, must discover and expose the real spy without the help of his organization. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. That's the synopsis for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
It's a true story.
They're very similar, but this kind of set the pace. And I remember when I was in high school and this movie came out, it was the coolest thing ever. The music, the look, Tom Cruise, it was all so cool.
For sure.
And then Emilio Estevez was in it too. And that was cool too.
Yeah, he
Because
lasted
from
long.
Young Guns.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, I just realized why I don't watch Tom Cruise movies.
Why?
Because in the 90s, Rosie O'Donnell was obsessed with him.
Wait, that's why?
Zach has a revelation.
Do you have PTSD from Kush balls?
Yes.
I don't believe people get that reference.
So this movie had a budget of $80 million and ended up making $457 million. So it was a huge blockbuster at the time, and launched a franchise because this was a very successful TV show back in the '60s, and then it became a movie.
And we were too young to go, oh, this is just a cash-in movie adaptation.
Yeah, another TV adaptation,
Which it doesn't follow the story of the show at all.
no, in fact, people were mad because it strayed quite far from the formula, making one of the main characters from the TV series into a bad guy.
Yep.
No spoilers for a 1996 movie? Let's go with it. I watched this one fairly recently, and the technology is definitely dated, but the thrills are not.
So like the tunnel with the helicopter coming in, was that pretty bad CG at this point?
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
When you say technology, you mean like what they use in the movie?
yeah,
Or
But
they
Joel-
put all these bricks of laptops.
Red
They're like,
light, green light.
love that
So
part.
good.
Love that part. In fact, that was his idea. It was Tom Cruise's idea. This was kind of, I mean, he's been doing his own stunts for a long time. But it was his idea to have it in the giant glass-walled restaurant with the fish tanks and everything. And they were like, there's like 16 tons of water in
What
these
do
tanks
you
when they
get?
shoot out.
Another day older.
Well done.
Wow. For a guy who was born after most of Tom Cruise movies, that was an old reference. But it was his idea. He wanted to do it. And then they were all worried about him. And he said, no, I'm going to do this stunt and run away from
Tom
all
Cruise.
this water. Yeah, exactly. Also, in the scene where he's hovering just above the floor, he was having a hard time balancing. So he put some coins in his shoes to help counterweight him, to help him hover.
Who does this?
Tom Cruise.
That's all that needs to be said.
Yeah, no, it's a little. The plot is a little complicated, but the twists are fun to watch. This is the team coming together and doing it together instead of becoming. I like all the Mission Impossible movies, but it does become the Tom Cruise show after a couple of them. It's like it's him and then his background dancers. Whereas in this one, I felt it was much more team oriented.
Hey, Joel. The more you talk about this movie, the less I think I've actually seen it.
You've seen
Good
only
heavens.
two?
I think I've only seen Mission Impossible 2.
Hold on.
That's what the-
Motorcycle jousting? Does that sound familiar?
100%.
Hey, those-
Doves?
They get on the front wheel and spin around.
Do you have any beans that were like left out yesterday? Could you scrape the bean crust off and put that on my burrito, please? Thank you. Why isn't this
How is
burrito
Tom
good?
Cruise's career like a sweet pork salad?
That's what. In number 2, he's climbing up the rocks.
That is actually a really cool
That's
part.
great.
The opening of Mission Impossible.
And then he
is
throws his
fantastic.
glasses.
His hair's long.
I know why you
Long
want to
hair's-
hate me.
I don't think I've seen the first one.
Sleepover movies?
Definitely.
Okay.
So sorry.
Sleepover marathon.
I
All Mission
love
Impossibles.
this idea, except for 2.
Oh no, even
Yeah.
2. Watch it. We're watching them all the way through.
Hey, Ken,
you got to
what-
take the bitter with the sweet.
What's your favorite one, and why is it the one with Henry Cavill?
It's the one with Henry Cavill.
Is that what it's called? Mission Impossible: the one with Henry Cavill.
No, it's the one with Henry Cavill's mustache.
the one with Henry Cavill reloading his arms.
So, Joel, I was really close to picking the original because the original
Really?
does set the stage.
I thought you didn't like it.
I love the original.
Oh.
It's my second favorite.
I thought for sure you were going to pick
No.
Ghost Protocol.
But at that time, in the mid-'90s, I was like, what movie do I like better? Mission Impossible or Twister? It was a tough choice. It was the mid-'90s, and blockbusters were kind of
That was a
rare.
good year.
Twister is a great Dodge commercial.
But I chose Fallout. And Joel, you know how obsessed I am with Mission Impossible Fallout, which is the 6th iteration of Mission Impossible. And you've already kind of read the synopsis, which is Ethan Hunt and his IMF team, along with some familiar allies, race against time after a mission gone wrong.
Yeah. I don't know how they keep getting away with the formula of
Of the rogue
Ethan Hunt
agent.
becoming disavowed.
Yeah.
And the team being
We don't
dissolved.
trust him, but he's really in it for the right
Can we
reasons.
have one movie where he has the full support of the IMF team?
Boring.
It did it for 6 seasons.
I think it works with like
TV show.
it works with spy movies because of a little franchise called James Bond, right? It's just
Yeah,
like
no, it's true.
because James Bond movies are mostly all the same, except for now where they're just Mission Impossible and Bourne put together. But like we're just fine with that formula in this
Yeah.
kind of movie. We
Yeah.
just accept it. Like most superhero movies are kind of the same
7
thing.
seasons. Mission Impossible is 7 seasons. There.
Oh wow! So I think it's okay with these. You're not expecting anything else.
How does Mission Impossible stay good, even great with Fallout? I think it is one of the best action movies ever made.
Do you think
The bold statement.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Is it because they don't seem to let up? Right over
no.
time, franchises
They
kind
don't-
of give up.
Right. And so the movies escalate, so do the events in the film. And the action keeps getting bigger and bigger. And that Halo jump, like you watch it and you're like, that's pretty cool. That's
Talk about
real.
Halo jump and explain it real quick.
The Halo jump, they jump from
High altitude.
25,000 feet.
High altitude, low open.
Yes. And so you have Henry Cavill and Tom Cruise jumping from 25,000 feet with an IMAX cameraman with an IMAX camera on his head following
He's
these
the
guys.
real hero, by the way.
He really is. They
Tom
did-
Cruise does all his stunts. Yeah, what about the cameraman who filmed Tom Cruise's stunts?
Are those stunts cool independently of knowing that they're real?
No, when you
I
watch
think
the
the
movie,
meta
they're
gets in
making
the way.
They're making a drop, but at the same time, this guy cares about the craft. He did 5 jumps a day in order to prepare
But I
for
feel
this.
like it's like
this
when
shot.
you watch the old James Bond movies, and the stunts, even though they're not really super cool, they're impressive because you know they're real. Like when the guy's running across alligators, that's awesome because he's
Yeah.
running across real
The
alligators.
guy, goes off the hill and then has the big parachute
Because
thing.
how much life does a CG scene have? You could easily do that scene in CG.
Yeah.
But it's just hollow.
And some CG does not hold up.
No.
every time.
Whereas Tom Cruise is doing this, and it works so well. And then right after that, the bathroom fist pumping scene. And the fight is great. Not only Henry Cavill growing a beard when he reloads his fists, which is super great. And like that's a great villain. I think this series
This is a Tom Cruise movie episode, not the Henry Cavill
Oh, okay.
episode.
It's not yet. But it does have all these classic characters that were typically brought in after 3, because I think 3, except for Ving Rhames, brought in like Benji Dunn, for example.
Yeah,
Great
three,
last
three
name.
kind of changed the tone.
Yes.
and started an arc.
So I think it incorporates the best action, characters, and tropes from this series and capitalizes
This
it.
is the
where
6th movie.
This could have been the end of Mission Impossible, and I would have been very pleased because it does kind of put an exclamation point
But
on it.
just to put a punctuation point on what you just said.
Yeah.
You just said the 6th movie in a franchise is
Isn't
the
that
best
crazy?
movie. That is crazy.
Because it should be trash at this point.
Where else can you say that about any other franchise, that the 6th movie is the best?
Not Fast and Furious.
Definitely not.
Definitely not. But no, I think this movie, it almost raises the stakes and the action too much that I'll probably be let down with the next couple Mission Impossible
Friday
movies.
the 13th, part 6? No.
No, heavens no. We'll get there.
Next, we have best sci-fi movie. He also does these, I hear.
He doesn't. When we said best sci-fi movie, I was thinking to myself, wait a minute, has he done enough to do a category on this? But then I looked, I'm like, oh wow, he has done a lot.
I'll go first on this one. From 2002, Minority Report. Minority Report is so good. Joel, I'm looking at you. You're thinking a little overrated?
Well, no, best sci-fi movie, I'm not so sure about. Good movie, yes. Dated movie, have you watched it recently?
Yeah, I love it.
It's
Like, look, there are some effects. This is Spielberg in his AI
is
phase.
2002 CGI in some parts.
It's true.
And I kind of went, ooh.
But like the performances really work. Like Cruise is captivating. Colin Farrell in one of his early movies is
Yes.
quite good as well.
Yes.
The precogs, like the idea is it's a very high concept movie, and
Yes.
the synopsis is: in a future where a special police unit is able to arrest murderers before they commit their crimes, an officer from that unit is himself accused of a future murder.
And I love that idea of, do you arrest someone for something they haven't done yet?
Yeah.
And he
Because
does
it becomes a paradox in a way.
Yeah, because he does this experiment where this guy's like, I don't think we should be doing this. And then he goes and rolls a ball across the table and it's about to fall and he grabs
Yeah.
it. And he's like, why'd you grab that? He's like, because it was going to fall. And he's like, but it didn't.
Yeah.
So why'd you stop it? You didn't know it was going to fall. He's like, yeah, it was. And he's like, exactly. So,
I want to have had stopped it.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And you're right. So maybe the CG is not quite up to snuff at this point. But I think that's CG in general.
no, I'm not bashing on that.
Right.
Sense. It's just I watched it again, and back in 2002, it was cutting edge. But
Right.
I watched it now, and I'm like, wow, we're getting closer.
It's got a
this
lot
era.
of dark blue filter on it as well.
It's like a hazy thing. It's like they
Yeah.
smeared Vaseline all over the film and the lens.
So, but I think it's a tier 1 Spielberg movie, a tier 1 Tom Cruise movie, and I don't think it should have worked as well as it did. But like Philip K. Dick stories don't often translate perfectly to
He's
film.
kind of a bizarre writer.
Yeah, he also did Blade Runner, just in case anyone is wondering. But this one was great. It's one of my favorite Tom Cruise movies.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like one of your favorites.
Yes.
I really think I think more people should see it, honestly. But yeah.
Joel?
I chose Edge of Tomorrow. Live, Die, Repeat.
Which one?
It's both.
Choose.
So, because I was originally marketed as Edge of Tomorrow, and then they realized that name was terrible, so they changed to Live, Die, Repeat.
Why? I don't get that.
Why Edge of Tomorrow was terrible?
That's a great name.
What does it mean,
You're
though?
on the edge of tomorrow, but you just don't quite make
That's
it there.
so boring. Live, Die, Repeat?
You're almost to tomorrow.
Well, I mean, the original story is called All You Need Is Kill.
That's a
even
great
more,
title.
That's the worst one.
No,
a
that's
bad
the
one.
best.
No.
So the synopsis
Come on.
for Edge of Tomorrow: a soldier fighting aliens gets to relive the day over and over again, the day restarting every time he dies.
What was more dead in this movie? Tom Cruise's character or Emily Blunt's eyes?
She's great in this movie.
Who are you?
I don't like her.
Wait, have you seen this movie?
What?
Oh, there you go.
You don't like Emily Blunt?
Nah.
Everyone likes Emily Blunt.
She's good in the Prada movie.
My gosh.
Mary Poppins Returns?
No, don't bring
She's
that
terrible.
up. Why would you
That's a
bring that
terrible
up?
movie.
Because it's Disney and I'm trying to appeal to Zach.
No.
Nope.
No, this came
Wow.
out. So back to the good opinion.
Hey, can we put Zach in the quiet place over
We
there?
may have to.
Okay.
Wow, this is so good.
It's so good.
So Edge of Tomorrow came out in 2014, and it blew me away. It's
great.
I watched this movie, and it's like an action movie version of Groundhog Day, and they have these cool like mech suits, which apparently they weighed 85 pounds each.
He
those suits.
insisted that they be real.
Yeah, and they had to have
Tom
4
Cruise.
people help them get in the suits. When they first started doing it, it took 30 minutes. Well, Tom Cruise needed about 30 minutes. By the end, Tom Cruise only needed 30 seconds.
Oh,
He got good at
take it easy.
Actually, it was so heavy between takes, they would actually suspend the actors on wires, so it would take the weight off their shoulders.
This movie works because he's not your typical Jack character, even though he seems that way if you think about the movie. He actually just plays a coward.
Yeah, he's
Like
a guy
a
who
really
wants to
flawed
run away
coward.
from fighting
Yeah.
until he's forced to fight, and I love that concept. And it is oddly and darkly humorous.
It is. The deaths are funny.
He's like the Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote, and every time he gets killed, you kind of go, "Ho ho ho! That was awful," and he starts it over again. So it's an original premise. It's not a sequel or anything like that.
Kent's just shaking his head.
I am.
I think I named this my favorite film I watched in 2014.
Yeah.
I absolutely
It's so
loved it.
good.
And I wish it would have done a little better. The budget was 178 million. It made 370 million, so just over double, which is barely a profit in Hollywood. But it's so much fun every time. And I've watched this many I own it, and every time I watch it, I'm just like, this is fun. Brad Pitt was supposed to star in it, by the way,
Yeah.
but he declined. And so then they got Tom Cruise, and I'm so glad they did.
Perfect.
I have often wanted to watch this movie, and I still do. It honestly,
loan it to you.
It looks super interesting, and I've heard it's become kind of a little diamond in the rough. Like a lot of people haven't seen it, and they should.
Yeah, this is one that I actually ended up showing to like a large family gathering because it's relatively clean. It's PG-13,
Yeah.
but it's mostly sci-fi.
It's an aliens
violence.
attack movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And I was able to show this to him, and it appealed to the younger, tweens and like the older adults as well. So,
Okay.
yeah, Edge of Tomorrow,
great choice.
Live, Die, Repeat.
Joel, what was the greatest running scene?
Because we know that when Tom Cruise is in a movie, he likes to run.
It's his thing.
He's so good at it, though.
There have been
He's got a great
there's
run.
YouTube montages of Tom Cruise just running in all his movies. He looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Why is
Every
he
time.
so good?
He's a great
Why?
runner. I don't know why. But I chose running through Shanghai in Mission Impossible 3.
So did I.
You did?
Oh, yeah.
So Mission Impossible 3, here's the synopsis.
Here we go.
IMF agent Ethan Hunt comes into a conflict with a dangerous and sadistic arms dealer who threatens his life and his fiancée in response. And he's also disavowed and has to run away. And
This is a 1 mile run through Shanghai.
Kent, do you know the world record for fastest mile run?
Please tell.
3 minutes and 43 seconds.
How fast does he run it?
Tom Cruise ran it in 1 minute and 35 seconds.
Of course he does,
And
because he's Tom
there were
Cruise.
a lot of obstacles. He was running over roofs and around people and yelling in Chinese.
We give J.J. Abrams a lot of flack on this show.
You do.
Well, deservedly so. But he directed this film, and I'm not saying he should get the credit, but the way they frame Tom Cruise running in the camera as he's running through the streets, it's almost like a video game because his character, when he's running at full speed, 1 minute, 30-second mile,
Well-
he is central in the camera, and the people are rushing by.
There's a 20-second spread there where
Yeah.
it's a single camera shot of him just running
fantastic.
next to this river in this little corridor.
Right.
And it is one of those shots where I went, he had to do this probably multiple times, and he's running full speed.
Yeah.
Whoa, is Billy Crudup in this movie?
Crudup.
Yeah.
Crudup. Yeah.
Crudup.
But he's
Crudup,
running
Zack.
past and yelling people. And maybe it is because of the emotional attachment, too, because there's some crazy stuff that's
Well,
happening
this is
right
the
now.
climax of the movie.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you can sell Tom Cruise running as the climax of your movie to save his fiance,
Yeah.
like that's a good move. He actually, I think this is the movie where he runs the most in more than any other movie.
Really?
Yeah.
I watched the
to have
Firm-
this scene there. Oh,
I watched the Firm the other
for
day,
sure.
and there's a pretty big running scene there where and it's funny, too, because he's got a briefcase and a giant trench coat on.
Yeah.
He's just trying to run away.
But as far as threat level goes and visually, like this is his best run.
So we agree.
Oh, totally.
Finger boot.
Wow. I'm watching
missed.
it. I'm watching it now. He's talking on the phone.
Yeah. To Benji.
Ben.
Not the dog, the man.
Okay. Okay, what's a movie where he's good, but the movie is not?
Rock of Ages is my choice.
The movie's terrible.
I have not
Yeah.
seen it.
Oh,
Don't.
any desire?
No.
Yeah.
I was kind of interested in the musical, but to be honest, Tom Cruise didn't seem to fit the role, at least in the trailer.
So, and I'll tell you why I think he's good, but the movie is not. But the synopsis
Stacey
is
Jacks is his role.
a small town girl and a city boy meet on the Sunset Strip while pursuing their Hollywood dreams. Tom Cruise is not the main star here. I would actually say like maybe he was in kind of like a slump
More of a-
outside of Mission Impossible.
Which he
like a
rarely takes
cameo.
supporting roles.
Yeah. But this role, he just chewed the scenery to the point where he became the only memorable part of the movie. And there's a lot of weird stuff that happens here. I wasn't familiar with the musical. And honestly, even now having seen the movie, I would never willingly watch it.
Okay.
Just go to
But
your...
he's good in it?
But he's
go,
good.
Go to your streaming service of choice. Type in Arena Rock and listen to that instead.
Yes.
But
What is
because really,
Arena
it's,
Rock?
it's just like Def Leppard and
Oh,
Those
I
kind of
thought
things.
you meant like movie streaming. I thought you were talking about like,
no, it's because that's what the musical is, right? It's just 80s hair, hair
yeah,
band hits.
it's a rock
Yeah.
opera kind of.
But I've actually seen this one. Tom Cruise is very interesting in this movie
Yeah.
for sure.
He's playing like an aging rocker, total diva.
Yeah, I've seen the trailer and read a little bit about it, but
Right. And
he's
there's,
good.
there's
You're
some
saying he's good in it.
He's good. I mean, this guy trained, he's not really a singer, but he trained for 5 hours every day to get his voice ready for his performance. I mean, this is Tom Cruise. When you could have someone else be your voice double, Tom Cruise cares.
That should be a
Hashtag Tom Cruise
slogan.
cares.
Hashtag.
That may
But
catch
no,
on.
like watching this, I had no trust in his ability for a musical, and he was the only reason to watch it.
Okay.
All right. What about you,
Who
Joel?
else is in that one?
Nobody.
Catherine Zeta-Jones,
Yeah, she's done with
Alec Baldwin,
What? Oh, yeah, he's like a manager or something? Yeah.
Okay.
There's a few, but
Julianne Hough.
Oh yeah.
Anybody big in this movie feels like they're a cameo, but yeah, Julianne Hough is like the main character.
This was supposed to be your breakout role, wasn't it, or something?
This and Footloose.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Oops.
Oops.
Joel, what do you have?
So the movie I thought he was good in, but the movie was not. I'm so sorry to my niece. Sorry, McKay. I'm saying Night and Day. So
The only thing I remember about this movie is
You saw this one?
The trailer had a Muse song.
Yes, it
during
did.
This was
This-
Cameron Diaz.
yes,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
Cameron Diaz and Tom Cruise. This came out in 2010. It's a weird kind of action comedy. And the thing about this movie is that it's almost good. Like it was right on the cusp of good for me because it's about this woman who, I can read the synopsis. A young woman gets mixed up with a disgraced spy who is trying to clear his name. So Cameron Diaz is just trying to get to her sister's wedding, and then she sits next to this guy on a plane who's Tom Cruise, and then it turns out he's kind of an assassin.
It's almost like it wants to have a Man from U.N.C.L.E. vibe
Yeah.
as far as like slight, subtle comedy goes.
Yes.
He plays it very big, and I think he's delightful in the movie.
He is an absolute delight in the movie. Like
Yeah.
he is so casual about what's happening. He's like, okay, here's what's going to happen. We're going to start getting shot at, but it's going to be okay because you just got to go over here and do this. Or like, there's a part where she's like behind the wheel of a car that's out of control, and he jumps on he lands on top
Right.
of the hood, and he's like,
Like it's an everyday
you're
thing.
doing great. And she's like, get out of the way, I can't see. He's like, you're doing great. Keep it up, and like jumps off and kills a bunch of people and hops back in. She's like, who are you? And when he was doing those little quirky side comments about everything that's going on, I was cracking up because I'm like, he's so casual about everything that's going on while she's freaking out. It's no big deal to him. And I enjoyed that aspect of it. But it was the story. The story is just a little sloppy and
Yeah.
doesn't quite get to it's almost like something was off. Like, you know how when you're watching a video and the audio is off from sync from the video, like the words don't match up with what's going on just by a little bit?
Sure.
I felt like that was the comedy of this movie where Tom Cruise was good and Cameron Diaz was fine.
She
but
was.
The story surrounding it, everything just felt a little off.
A little
So,
too cliche, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, and plenty of action to enjoy, but the story just didn't make sense for me. Originally, it was supposed to be Adam Sandler, by the way.
Wow,
He
that
declined.
sounds way worse.
He declined and said, quote, "I just don't see me with a gun." And then Tom Cruise was actually, this weirded me out. Tom Cruise was auditioning for parts in 5 films. Does Tom Cruise audition for roles? But
I wouldn't think so.
He was auditioning for Salt and The Tourist, and then decided he wanted to star in Night and Day. So, I don't know if that was the lesser of 3 evils, but not a great selection there.
Huh.
And Tom Cruise normally gets $20 million or higher in an advance fee. But for this one, he dropped it down to $11 million. So he's a
Weird.
Oh,
benevolent
so
soul.
humble. Yes, indeed.
Weird. Well,
Yeah.
So you were talking about auditions. What is a time where he was maybe miscast or completely miscast?
I chose Valkyrie.
This is the eye patch one?
Yeah. He actually
The eye patch one.
The marketing
The
people
German eye patch
The
one.
marketing people were worried that it was going to be called Tom Cruise with an eye patch. So the synopsis of Valkyrie is a dramatization of the July 20th, 1944 assassination and political coup plot by wow, there's a lot of words here, but there was a guy who tried to assassinate Hitler.
Yeah.
A real life story of a guy who tried to assassinate Hitler.
The story is actually fascinating.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. But I could not get past Tom Cruise as Tom Cruise.
They do something very clever at the beginning of this movie because we often make fun of how 80s and 90s US movies, we often have foreign characters, but they all speak, American English, basically.
Yeah.
But this movie transitions into these American actors playing these German soldiers, essentially.
They're speaking German and then
it kind of just does a quick transition and you buy it.
Yeah.
That's probably the best thing the movie does.
Like Hunt for Red October transition?
A little bit,
That's
yeah.
the
Yes,
best
but
one.
that is the best one.
Cool.
But at the same time, you've got Kenneth Branagh and Bill Nighy and Terrence Stamp, these great British
Yes.
actors, and then Tom Cruise. And it felt he was
Because
not
you
the right
just
role.
always see Tom Cruise.
Yeah, and
Okay.
he's missing some fingers. He's got an eye patch. He's limping. Like they try to make him different, and it just doesn't work. I actually the movie was good.
It's fine.
I liked learning about the story, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was so weird that Tom Cruise. I kept being like, how do they not know that Tom Cruise is evil? It's Tom Cruise, or not evil. I guess he's good, but he was against their plot. Fun fact about this one, by the way. They were worried because the German people were not a fan of Tom Cruise's belief in Scientology, so they were kind of protesting it and starting up a bunch of stuff. So they decided to shift the focus of the movie, of the marketing, from Tom Cruise to director Bryan Singer.
Not a good move.
And he's not a great guy.
Not a good move.
So, yeah, I just thought it was kind of like a jumping out of the frying pan into the fryer.
Little bit,
stuff. Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah.
Kent, what do you have?
Jack Reacher.
Really?
Jack Reacher is purely physical.
It is.
Right. I get because this was a book.
Yeah, go ahead. You know this one.
So the Jack Reacher series by author Lee Child, the way he describes Jack Reacher, and there's now an Amazon series, which Joel, you've seen, right?
Yeah.
And I think they have an actor that actually looks the type
Call
because
him an actor, sure.
oh, really? Is
They
that where
have
we're
a
at?
big guy.
Okay, but the character is blonde, 6'5", and weighs between 210 to 250 pounds.
So picture The Rock with hair.
Yeah, a blonde
Hair.
rock.
A blonde rock.
Tom Cruise is 5'7", and that's not a slam to anyone that's 5'7" and says they're 5'9". But Tom Cruise is not this menacing guy. He is still Tom Cruise, but he's gained a little bit of weight. / he's wearing a flannel shirt that he looks tough in. And they do things in this movie, and I do like this movie a lot. Not the sequel, but I do like how
Jack Reacher never stopped stopping.
That's basically it.
Yeah.
But there's one scene where he's fighting people just in the street. And they do make him intimidating because he takes on a whole gang of people.
That's just it. I understand he's completely different from what they did.
Yes.
From what the book is. But I also think they did a good job of making Tom Cruise believable as you don't want to mess with him.
Yeah. Like you would not suspect.
I would not want to mess with
You
Tom
wouldn't
Cruise.
suspect that this tiny guy could take on everyone.
Yeah.
And he does. But he's totally miscast.
5'7" is not that tiny. I'm not 5'7", but
Are you sure?
oh, I'm much taller than those 5'7" puny kids
We'd like to apologize to every listener who's 5'7".
and under.
Yeah.
Okay, how about more of an underrated show? More people should like this movie. Kent?
All right. I'm going with American Made. And
Okay.
this is
What?
just- yeah. You didn't like this one?
No.
Really? This one came out 2017. I thought this movie was strangely funny to begin with because there are scenes where they put Tom Cruise in danger or in kind of humiliating situations. Basically, so I'll read the synopsis. The story of Barry Seal, an American pilot who became a drug runner for the CIA in the 1980s in a clandestine operation that would be exposed as the Iran-Contra affair. Very complicated, but basically he flew planes as a drug runner. And I think like the situations that they put him in are funny. They're thrilling. This one kind of came out of nowhere because it's also a dramatic role for him.
Well, it's supposed to be based on true events too, but
Yes.
I read the real story and that was pretty cool.
Is it way off?
It's off. Like they took a lot of liberties.
Does it make Tom Cruise just look like a movie star who does cool stuff with a plane instead of the real story?
Yeah.
So you didn't like this one?
It started off interesting and then it just dragged and started getting repetitive to me. And I was like, okay, we get it. Let's move on. But
Yeah. See, the fact is, like, because it's based on a true story, and who knows, well, Joel, you do, how real it is. I found it thrilling. So I'm like, well, if this is really happening, like, this stuff is intense. So I feel like it's underseen, and I feel like more people should like it. Maybe even Joel, if you give it another chance.
What do you think, Joel?
I will if you give mine a chance, Kent.
Which is?
Minority Report.
Oh, I'll give it a chance.
So more.
Wait, do people not like this movie?
Well, I think it's people forget about this movie. And I think that it's one of Spielberg's lesser known, like when you think of Spielberg movies,
Sure.
This came after Saving Private Ryan, which seems to be like the stop of when his good movies were.
Oh, sad.
Great movies were, and this is a good. This is. I actually do enjoy Minority Report.
Yeah.
I think it's a very well made movie. I love the thought provoking that happens while you watch this movie of like, is this right? Is this wrong? And the idea of you could be Tom Cruise in this movie predicts future murders. He doesn't, but the precogs do. And he sees himself doing it. He's like, I don't even know who this guy is.
Yeah.
Why would I murder a person I don't even know? And then you spend the whole movie trying to figure out why. And then when it's revealed, you're like, oh my gosh, that was staring me right in the face the whole time, but I didn't see it.
And it's emotional.
It is very emotional.
Yeah.
But I can also see why people don't like it. Like, I can actually explain why people don't like this movie.
Okay, go on.
I feel like Steven Spielberg trying to be
Kubrick.
Stanley Kubrick does not work. In fact, AI came out just before this.
Right.
And because AI flopped so badly, they kind of did the opposite of the other movie I was talking about. They flipped Tom Cruise's name at the top and downplayed Steven Spielberg's role in it. But I feel like it's too gritty, too grimy, to truly appeal to more people. There's a scene in there where
The eyeball scene?
Well, after the eyeball scene, when he can't see because he has a blindfold on, and he's grabbing food out of the fridge, and for some reason, there's a moldy sandwich, and rotten milk, and it was like one of those things where I'm like, that's not really necessary here, like for the plot. And it was just there for a throwaway gag, or a throw up gag,
Literally.
And there's also some sassy stuff in there that I'm also like, not really necessary, but it's just him trying to be edgy. They put a lot of grime on this movie, and I feel like it was to its detriment. Where if it was a little more polish, I think it would appeal to more people because I think it's off-putting to people. But I think more people should like it because it is thought-provoking, it is unique, and there are things in this movie that have stuck with me ever since I saw
Maybe
it.
underseen 20 years later.
Yeah. You don't hear people talking about it anymore. By the way, the scene where he's in a bathtub underwater.
Yeah.
And there's a part where just like he's trying to hide from these spiders, these mechanical spiders.
Creepy.
And he's underwater and he's holding his breath, and one single bubble comes out of his nose and goes to the surface, one air bubble, and then it pops and they know where he is. They were going to do a CGI, and Tom Cruise like, no. I got this.
That's so Tom Cruise.
So he learned how to blow a
nose
single
bubble.
air bubble out of his nose for this movie.
He's dedicated to the craft.
We're to the sort of midpoint of the show. Things are dragging. We could use an action scene. What's the best action scene or stunt he's done?
We may agree again on this, Kent. I'm not sure.
We do.
Climbing Burj Khalifa in Dubai?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Ridiculous.
Climbing the tallest building.
Zach, do you know
in the
anything
world.
about this? Have you seen images? Promotion
This
for
is
it.
in a Mission Impossible 5.
Ghost
4.
Protocol. 4.
4.
I
Yeah.
wish they would have just kept the numbers because I can't tell
4.
her.
Yeah.
5
Can I
was
read
the
the
strap
synopsis?
to the side of a
Rhythm
plane
Nation.
one.
Yeah.
Can I read the synopsis?
Yeah. Go for it.
The IMF is shut down when it's implicated in the bombing of the Kremlin, causing Ethan Hunt and his team to go rogue to clear their organization's name. Same movie.
This is the climax. Is it the climax? No, it's not.
No, this is middle.
This is the middle of the movie. So he's climbing the tallest building in the world. This is Tom Cruise. And the insurance company said, hey, we're not going to allow you to do everything you want. And so he goes, okay, guess what? You're fired. And we're going to find another insurance company that will allow me to do whatever I want and put my life in danger.
At this point, that's like a Bruce Wayne move.
It really is, right?
I bought the insurance company.
And it's funny because Mission Impossible 3, for as good as it is, it kind of seemed like the death of the Mission Impossible franchise.
Well, it seemed like a completion of an arc, maybe.
But also his stardom was kind of decreasing at that point. And so they released a promotion shot from this one where he's sitting atop the building and he's just chilling out. No wires, no nothing. And people saw that and they're like, oh, Tom Cruise, you crazy cat, you. Because and they're like,
Tomcat.
Oh, there you go. And yeah, I think this scene works so well because it feels so real.
So let me set up the scene a little bit. He has to get from one floor of this giant hotel building to another floor, but he can't go through the main hallway, so he has to climb on the outside of this building and crawl to this other thing with using these special gloves that stuck to the window.
Yes.
My palms sweat, like drip sweat every time I watch this scene because it is so terrifying.
Mom's Piscetti.
Yeah.
Yes. Of course.
In reality, he did have cables and wires with him. He wasn't using the special gloves, but he was really out there doing it. And even just watching it, I start freaking out. And I'm like, the guy has no fear. It's insane.
Right.
I was going to give it to him for the scene where he has to hold his breath for 6 minutes.
Which he actually learned how to do.
He learned how to do. He could hold his breath for 6 minutes, which we're going to do right now here on the air.
Good airtime.
Oh, you ruined it, Ken.
Oh, sorry.
Now we can't do it. But then Kate Winslet beat him, so I don't think it's that great of a stunt anymore.
She beat him for holding her breath?
In Avatar 2, Kate Winslet apparently beat his record for 6 minutes. Oh,
Zach died. That was, hold on. Learn the clock that. 27 seconds.
Oh, dang it.
Stop smoking, Zach.
But no, that is such an amazing stunt.
Wow.
I think because you feel it. It doesn't seem like it could be CG. Like you just, and I'm so afraid of heights. It's my third greatest fear.
Visceral thing.
Yes.
It is. Guys, can we do a holding breath contest after the show? I want to see who can hold their breath the longest.
Sure.
Really?
He's going to secretly breathe through his nose. All right. How about your most surprising performance?
Here's another movie that maybe not a lot of people have seen, but the most surprising performance for me is Vincent in Collateral. This movie came out in 2004.
Collateral.
That's
this is the gray hair one.
Tom Cruise has gray hair.
Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the gray hair flat top movie.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about
And
here.
he's a bad guy in this one, which is very.
Is he a bad
unique.
guy or is he a bad guy?
He's a bad guy.
Oh, okay.
Killer
Duh.
guy.
Sorry.
Wow.
So sorry.
Wow. Remember that song?
We're relevant 3 years ago.
Wow.
So a cab driver finds himself the hostage of an engaging contract killer as he makes his rounds from hit to hit during one night in Los Angeles. This is a two-man movie, essentially. You have Tom Cruise saying, I need a ride to go kill some people, and Jamie Foxx is this cab driver. And he just gets placed in the worst night of his life. And Tom Cruise, we talked about how he doesn't want to play a loser. He's playing a straight-up murderer.
Yeah, he's
a bad dude.
He's a bad dude, but he's still like good at what he does. He's not a loser.
Well, it's weird because it's the Tom Cruise charm that we all know, but it works because I already think, and this was mid-2000s, he was already a little unhinged at this point as a person. And I think it kind of works for this unpredictability of the character as well. Mm-hmm. And I love that he's one of the biggest movie stars in the world, but he plays such a horrible person that, you know, you should never feel anything for. Mm-hmm. And it's Michael Mann, who directed Heat as well, right. One of the greatest directors of the time. And I think this movie is phenomenal. And so I think just him being that, just playing against type.
Yeah.
I think it really worked for him. I would love to see it again.
I would too. I was actually thinking I need to watch this one again because it's been a long time since I saw it, but I was surprised that he was the bad guy.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever watched Legend?
Yes.
Zach, can I explain Legend to you?
Please.
A young man.
And also the rest of his career.
A young man must stop the Lord of Darkness from destroying daylight and marrying the woman he loves. Directed by Ridley Scott, who did Alien, Blade Runner, Thelma and Louise, G.I. Jane, and The Martian. Tom Cruise plays Jack O'Green.
Sure. Also in Far and Away, right? It's a prequel.
Yeah. What is this armor he's wearing?
He's a forest being who can talk to unicorns and fairies, and he decapitates a swamp hag at one point. And then Tim Curry is like this giant devil with like the biggest horns you've ever seen.
Does this look familiar at all?
I have no concept of this movie.
It is very unusual. And Tom Cruise's hair is longer than it was in Mission Impossible 2.
That's long.
This is a bizarre fantasy movie, and to see Tom Cruise in it, it's surprising.
Yeah,
this is 1985, so it's just before he hit it really big with Top Gun. Also, Mia Sara is in this, and it's just before Ferris Bueller's Day Off as well, because she's Sloane. But the funny thing about this movie is that Tom Cruise, even back then, apparently they were swimming in these waters that had alligators in them. And Tom Cruise was like, I got this.
Of course.
He didn't care. He swam in it. And there is a director's cut, which is the one that is preferred by both Ridley Scott and Tom Cruise. In fact, Tom Cruise has called the U.S. theatrical version as a, quote, stereotypical 80s fantasy.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing stereotypical about this movie. It's insane.
I want to watch the director's cut now.
Absolutely insane. You should. It's from what I hear, it's 114 minutes as opposed to the U.S. version, which was 89 minutes.
Wow.
So you get some extra
More
minutes.
Tim Curry.
More Tim Curry.
I'll take that.
Zach, this is like a fever dream.
I'm looking at images right now.
Yeah.
It looks insane.
It is insane. And once again, seeing Tom Cruise is almost like this elf-like character, it's bizarre. But it's not bad. It's somewhat entrancing, actually, this movie.
Tier 2 80s fantasy?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe you're going to go with movies that are bad in this category, but what's your at least he tried movie or role?
When we came up with this category, it was like, he tried something.
Good on you.
He did something different.
Sure.
It may not have worked.
No.
Like, having an Irish accent in Far and Away.
Oh, that's so mean.
Which is regularly on almost every list of bad accents. He's going to be in the
But
top
you
5.
love this movie.
I love this movie.
Yeah.
So Far and Away, if you don't know, a young Irish couple flee to the States, but subsequently struggle to obtain land and prosper freely. So it's directed by Ron Howard, who did Willow and Splash and Cocoon and Apollo 13, excuse me. Backdraft.
Not Apollo 18.
That's the They Giants album.
Solo.
And the Da Vinci Code. So Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman have just recently got married, and that was kind of the promo for this. Is like, oh, they're married, and now they're in a movie together, and they love each other. And it's a bit slow.
It's charming.
But it is a well-made epic drama. And Tom Cruise does, I looked it up, Tom Cruise does have Irish ancestry, but he does not have very good Irish accent. And you know what? He tried. Tell me like my heart. Tell me like my heart, Shannon. Why can't you just tell me you like my heart?
Oh,
And-
I've seen that clip.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
you haven't seen this movie?
No.
This is a fun drama.
We're
You should
talking to
watch-
Zach.
You should watch the one with your wife. I think she would enjoy it.
Okay.
So,
That is not committal.
yeah. But Far and Away, I watch it almost every
Hey, you should
St.
watch this
Patrick's
movie
Day.
where Tom Cruise is going to be real hard to listen to the whole time.
But the thing is, there's something charming about it. Like, even Nicole Kidman's accent isn't fantastic, but it's just it's such a good movie.
It's so cute.
Yeah.
And Kent?
Lions for Lambs.
I have not seen this one.
Yeah, don't ever watch it. This one came out 2007. This was after all of his bad publicity. And so he's like, you know what? I'm going to make a drama. Or at least he was cast in a drama. He didn't make this movie. Robert Redford made this movie. The synopsis is: injuries sustained by 2 Army Rangers behind enemy lines in Afghanistan set off a sequence of events involving a congressman, a journalist, and a professor.
Isn't this Three Kings?
No, because Three Kings is actually kind of good. Tom Cruise plays a Republican senator who also wants to run for president. And this one is basically Robert Redford writing fan fiction of how he thinks a conservative politician would be. This one is basically saying, like, war is bad, okay? Because, I mean, that's the whole
Was that
movie.
the tagline on the poster?
Yeah.
Okay.
War is
War's
bad,
bad,
okay?
okay.
This whole movie is a lecture. Tom Cruise is just like this archetype. It's a very one-dimensional character. And I think he was trying to not be the action guy anymore. 2 years previous, he was in War of the Worlds, which was just bigger than life, but still not very well received.
No.
And then he's like, I'm going to change it up. And it just didn't work out. And this is the last dramatic movie he's made since then. So 2007.
Wow.
Now he's just like, I know where my lane is.
Mission Impossible.
And I'm going to stay there.
What's a movie that you'd like to see the sequel? Where's the sequel, Tom Cruise?
Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes. Wait, you don't?
No, because I feel like, much like The Matrix, it ends in a way where you're kind of like, oh, anything can happen. This is going to be fun. If they do a sequel, it's going to tell me where the story went instead of letting me imagine it.
Which it could be better. You don't know. So they've actually announced a sequel to this, but it's been 8 years since that movie came out.
Yeah.
And that movie, like you said, is moderately
He
successful.
looks the same, though.
But very well liked. Yeah, but isn't it weird? It's like, by the time this movie comes out, if it does, and by the way, it will be called Live, Die, Repeat, and Repeat.
Live, Die,
They
Repeated.
got to nail down better marketing for these movies.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of the Day After Tomorrow.
Hey, wait.
Edge of Overmorrow.
Closer to the edge of tomorrow. And I'm about to break.
I did think it was funny. The Edge of Tomorrow took place in 2020, and I think it was very telling. of how the world was going to be.
It was like repeated days
Yeah, instead of exoskeletons, we were wearing masks.
and pajamas.
Future's
Sounds about
terrible,
right.
man.
It was the worst. But the director of the first movie, he's attached. Everyone's kind of rumored to be part of this movie. Tom Cruise, Emily Blunt. They don't have a script. But the director said, if I'm going to do a sequel for the first time in my life, which he's never done before, I want to make it the opposite of what you'd expect from a sequel, and we found a story that does that. The fact that it may be like a little more grounded as a story, maybe not as action-packed, which maybe people wouldn't like as much, but we saw Edge of Tomorrow. We don't need to see him die continually and come back.
It was fun.
It was fun, but I think it worked in that movie. But if they could expand that a little bit more, I would love to see it. Of all Tom Cruise movies, I think that's a sequel that needs to be done.
What do you think, Joel?
Now, you went with needs to be done.
Yes.
I went with, well, that's kind of disappointing. Because I went with The Mummy.
You're like, where's the sequel?
Where's
Hey,
the
Dark
Dark
Universe?
Universe?
That's what I was going to say. So The Mummy, if you don't know, the Mummy that came out in Tom Cruise in 2017, which we actually did a Bacon bit about it.
We did.
The synopsis: an ancient Egyptian princess is awakened from her crypt beneath the desert, bringing with her malevolence grown over millennia and terrors that defy human comprehension. Also starring Tom Cruise. So he was a soldier in this one. There's actually a really cool action sequence in a plane here that almost made my list when they're tumbling down, like the plane is going to crash, and they're actually in like one of those vomit comets that go up and down the parabolas and make them go weightless. But this movie was supposed to be the setup for the Dark Universe. They were going to kickstart, because Universal's the classic monsters that we know and love: Dracula, Frankenstein, Wolfman, Creature from the Black Lagoon, Invisible Man, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Like those were all great back in the day. And they were trying to reboot this and say, okay, we're going to do a Dark Universe. And they were going to have Johnny Depp. And he was going to play
The Invisible
Man. Javier Bardem was going to be the Wolfman.
Russell Crowe was in this movie,
Russell
right?
Crowe was in the movie as
Dr. Jekyll.
Hyde.
Jekyll.
Terrible. It was actually...
Angelina Jolie is Bride of Frankenstein.
Yeah. And I don't really like this movie. I didn't like The Mummy.
See, this was almost my choice for He's Good, the Movie Is Not, because he seems to be having a lot of fun in a really mediocre movie.
From my perspective on the outside, I saw the advertising for this, and I just kept thinking, why is Tom Cruise in this movie?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
seems odd.
But when they were going to do this, it was getting ready to go. They'd already gotten Angelina Jolie getting ready for Bride of Frankenstein. And then this movie made, I mean, the budget was possibly around $200 million.
Wow.
Estimates vary, but that's kind of where it is. But then the box office, it made $410 million. So it turned a profit.
But
Apparently it wasn't a big enough profit.
Okay.
And that's why I'm like, where's the sequel? Because looking at these other movies, when I mentioned box office before, a lot of his other movies, yeah, they made about double the budget. That's
Right.
kind of what they do. But this one, for some reason, just killed the franchise. And so I keep being like,
it didn't make $1 billion. Get rid of it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
that's
Weird,
kind of
right?
what and they gave up on the whole shared universe concept, with, maybe it may have been for good. The movies could have been terrible for all we know. But I still just kind of went, why? Why did this movie kill the franchise when it did fine? And the reception was fine.
I kind of think it was the hype behind the whole Dark Universe. I think the fact that they hadn't reached Marvel numbers for this movie.
Maybe
It wasn't enough to kick it off.
but it just felt weird to me that they set it up. They even did the promo shots of all of them together.
Yeah.
And, in this movie, they set up future movies, and then they're like, never mind.
The inclusion of Russell Crowe in this movie was so forced.
Oh, it was
I honestly think it ruined the movie.
Kind of did.
Yeah.
Because, whenever you start setting stuff up for future movies and it doesn't happen, that just makes the movie terrible. So, yeah, I just went with The Mummy going, where's the sequel? Why did the Dark Universe get killed because of this movie?
What is an Oscar-worthy performance that Tom Cruise has given? Joel?
He actually was nominated, as I mentioned before,
Yeah.
for Best Actor for
Born on the 4th of July.
Born on the 4th of July and Jerry
Maguire.
Maguire. But I went with one where he was overshadowed. I went with Rain Man.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
One of his early movies.
I remember when I was in elementary school and my teacher talked about this movie.
Because did Kim Peek come to your school?
He came to my school. He
Came to
didn't
my
come to
school?
Zach's.
No.
Oh.
Computer?
So, yeah, he's
Yeah.
awesome. So, synopsis of Rain Man. This came out in 1988, by the way. After a selfish LA yuppie learns that his estranged father has left a fortune to an autistic savant brother in Ohio that he didn't even know existed, he absconds with his brother and sets out across the country hoping to gain a larger inheritance. And this is directed by Barry Levinson, who did The Natural and Bandits and Wag the Dog. And starring Tom Cruise as Charlie Babbitt and Dustin Hoffman as Raymond Babbitt. And Dustin Hoffman rightfully got a lot of attention for his role as Raymond. I mean, you've heard Rain Man probably and seen tons of references around it. And Dustin Hoffman does a fantastic job at it. But Tom Cruise really does a fantastic job of being Tom Cruise. And this is the stereotypical. He's a cocky jerk
Sure.
who then learns to be humble because he has this brotherly love. And he learns to... I mean, Raymond is this very unique character. He doesn't communicate well. And when Tom Cruise is getting frustrated with him, you feel frustrated. But then Tom Cruise starts to see... His heart starts to melt. He starts to understand. And it becomes this beautiful story. Now, this was the highest grossing movie of 1988.
What?
Beating out Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Coming to America, Crocodile Dundee 2, Twins, The Naked Gun, and Big. And Cocktail, his other Tom Cruise another movie, was also that number 8 that same year. So he had 2 movies in the top 10 that year. A very good year for him. And Cruise wasn't nominated for this role, but I thought he has some very emotional parts of it. If you haven't seen Rain Man, highly recommend watching this.
Yeah, it's very good.
By the way, they originally were going to get Dennis Quaid and Randy Quaid to be the brothers in this movie, which they're real life brothers.
Yeah.
And you can probably guess who's going to play who. And then Dustin Hoffman was originally going to be the Charlie Babbitt, the cocky character, and Bill Murray was also going to be kind of the
weird.
autistic.
So it sounds like they
Savant.
were maybe a little too comedic.
I think so. And they took this in a much more dramatic direction, and I think that the movie was stronger for it. But Tom Cruise, he gave an Oscar-worthy performance, I feel.
Yeah, early in his career.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kent?
Mine he was nominated for, but for Best Supporting Actor, it's from Magnolia.
Still haven't seen that one.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there.
I actually watched the Tom Cruise. I've seen the Tom Cruise clip of him doing the motivational speaking, and I'm like, what is this?
It came out of nowhere. So Magnolia, it's an epic mosaic of interrelated characters in search of love, forgiveness, and meaning in the San Fernando Valley.
Wow, is this a student film?
So
it's a PTA movie.
it's a Paul Thomas Anderson film.
Same diff.
It's that, but with a budget and talent behind it.
Yeah.
This movie... Oh, absolutely. You don't like Paul Thomas Anderson?
Not particularly.
Really? None of his movies?
No, I can't think of any that I like. Name some.
Well, you don't like Boogie Nights.
Haven't seen it.
Have you seen The Master?
Nope.
With Joaquin Phoenix?
No.
Oh, wow. It's so good. Punch Drunk Love?
Yes.
Did you like that one?
It's okay.
Okay. Magnolia is fantastic. It is probably in my 30 favorite movies of all time.
That's how far we're dropping down the bar
Yeah,
now?
no. I love Magnolia. This is one of those movies where I'm like, yeah, it's over 3 hours long. And so it tests your patience. It is. Because there's like 12 stories, 12 different actors who have significant stories here. Like, so
what you say is Paul Thomas Anderson?
So Philip Seymour Hoffman, Julianne Moore, John C. Reilly, William H. Macy, and then Tom Cruise comes in this role. And by the way, all these characters are connected, and it's very clever how they do it. But Tom Cruise shows up as the most despicable person you could think of. He is one of these slimy dating coaches 20 years before their time, because now you can see these kind of alpha males on TikTok or YouTube or whatever. But he played this guy who's one of these late night alpha male televangelists, and he's gross. Like it seems irredeemable, but then there's actually way more to his character where he's really angry at his dad, and there's a whole family backstory there, and the performance is touching.
I was looking to see if I found it edited. I don't think I have the filters for it.
Oh, that's too bad. I mean, once again, I would want you to find like an edited copy, maybe cut 20 minutes because it's overly long. But Tom Cruise, for the 17 minutes he shows up, it's striking what this man can do with a great dramatic role. I think he should have won.
He was nominated for this too.
He was nominated. And if he should have won, absolutely. But yeah, Magnolia. If you're one of these college film students that you need a movie to just chew on.
Do you happen to know who won over him that year? 20 seconds later.
The person who won instead of Tom Cruise from the Cider House Rules is Michael Caine.
Michael Caine.
You going to take that award away from Michael Caine?
Yeah. I know that feels wrong.
That
feels wrong.
That felt wrong. You said it so resolutely.
Tom Cruise is.
Wow. Okay, this is maybe one of the weirder categories we've ever had. Who's the best looking character that this...
the best looking character that a single person has played.
One person has... I mean...
So Tom Cruise, who looks the same in every role.
I don't know. He was less handsome in the 80s.
Oh, yeah, he absolutely was.
I think so.
He's not good looking in the
Because he's got that
Outsiders.
tooth.
Kind of an awkward duck in the 80s.
He blossomed.
Surprised he
He's a
got so
swan
famous.
now.
The dude is a vampire.
He's a swan with
He's
scruff.
The dude
immortal.
is a vampire.
Like, the guy hasn't aged at all.
When he was Lestat, definitely.
Yeah, maybe that's where he learned how to stay young.
Wow.
So I'm going to go with a role where he actually looks kind of different. And by that, I mean he has
Mission Impossible 2.
beautiful flowing long hair.
Mission Impossible 2.
and a beard. The Last Samurai.
Oh.
He plays a character named Nathan Algren. Joel, have you seen this one? Oh my gosh.
Oh, sorry.
Gorgeous film, beautiful soundtrack.
Oh, yeah. Lulls
Tom
you
Cruise
right to sleep.
Tom Cruise in this role is captivating. There's such a great arc to him. Once again, it doesn't feel like a Tom Cruise movie. Like he's kind of a bad person. He's a war hero that has to go to Japan and teach them basically how to defend themselves. And there's a real conflict of emotions here. And yes, it's a sleepy movie.
You're saying that's the best looking character, though?
He is
Tom Cruise?
No, he pulls off long hair and a beard so well.
So you like him long hair and a beard, but not long hair as Lestat?
No, because that's like bleached blonde and like pasty and really nasty.
So Interview with the
this
Vampire.
one, you put samurai gear on that guy and
Wow.
in Japanese, because seriously, the man really pulls it off. So have I talked enough about the story for you guys to get what's going on here?
Yeah.
But he spent 2 years preparing for this movie, including learning swordplay and learning Japanese, because it's Tom Cruise.
Yeah, that's what he does. He throws himself in these roles.
Yeah. And he gained 20 pounds of muscle for this role. You can tell he's jacked. And yeah, he pulls it all off.
Okay.
All right. Joel, best looking Tom Cruise.
I love a man in uniform, and never has Tom Cruise looked better in uniform than as Lieutenant Daniel Kaffee in A Few Good Men. So
He just looks like Tom Cruise.
he looks like a fantastic version of Tom
He is
Cruise.
Tom Cruise. Wait, what?
Honorable mention to Jerry Maguire there, by the way.
Honorable mention Tropic Thunder.
As Les Grossman? No.
Yeah, we even brought him up.
Yeah.
It's a great cameo.
It's surprising. I also got, that's an honorable mention. But if you haven't seen A Few Good Men, you should watch it. This is one
It's
of
very
the
good.
best courtroom dramas ever made. So the synopsis. A military...
The Sorkin movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Here's the synopsis. Military lawyer Lieutenant Daniel Kaffee defends Marines accused of murder. This is like a tongue twister.
Yeah.
They contend they were acting under orders. And this is directed by Rob Reiner, who, man, I never realized how much I love Rob Reiner until I look at his body of work. And it's like,
Really?
this is Spinal Tap, Stand By Me, The Princess Bride, When Harry Met Sally, Misery. Like, he's got a lot of movies that I just
And varied.
really enjoy.
Yeah.
And very varying, too. Tom Cruise, Jack Nicholson, Demi Moore, Kevin Bacon, Cuba Gooding Jr., and Kiefer Sutherland in this movie. Fantastic courtroom drama. Just very well done. I've never served in the military, and I've never participated in court proceedings, yet I was completely engaged while watching this movie and watching the story unfold. And he's a courtroom lawyer, so he's always looks nice and
Right.
looks fantastic. And when he's,
I forgot why we're talking about this movie.
Not because the movie's good. No. He's super hot.
well, the movie is fantastic too, but Tom Cruise just looks really, really good in this role.
A few good-looking men.
Yeah. But he's, in Jerry Maguire, he's got kind of a scruffy thing going on, and sometimes he's disheveled. And this one, he's always just looking just on point. Just good job, Tom
Yeah.
Cruise, looking good in this movie. And
Military chic.
And of course, he gave us "You Can't Handle the Truth," which is one of the most iconic lines in film history.
Yep.
And the whole opening we did for this episode was based on that. So, yeah.
That's why he's the hottest.
Yep. Lieutenant Kaffee. He's the hottest.
All right, we move into our final category, which is who is your favorite character and why is it Ethan Hunt?
It's not.
What?
It's not.
What?
Did we both choose?
We did not. Go for it, Joel.
Who's your favorite character, Joel?
Oh, do we want to end on yours? Mine's going to be the obvious choice.
It's a weak choice, but that's fine.
Lieutenant Pete Maverick
Pete
Mitchell.
Maverick.
There's not
from
much to the
Top
character.
Gun? Are you kidding me?
Zach?
It's Maverick.
Maverick's great.
It's
Great call sign.
Maverick.
What happens in the movie? Like, what's his whole thing?
Volleyball.
He's
Sunglasses.
He's a cocky guy.
He wears sunglasses.
Hold on.
He
Tell me.
wears sunglasses.
Tell me about Tom Cruise roles.
He's a cocky guy
Yeah.
who then gets disavowed by IMF and has to join flight school.
That's great.
Top Gun.
Falls in love with an older woman.
Yes, Kelly McGillis. Synopsis, if you don't know. As students of the United States Navy's elite fighter weapons school compete to be the best in the class, one daring young pilot learns few things from a civilian instructor that are not taught in the classroom. That sounds
I think
awesome.
when the sequel comes out, I will agree with you because I want to see more from the character. But there's so little that this is just an 80s type character.
Well,
It's so simple.
I watched this many times when many times when I was younger, and I thought it was one of the coolest.
It's
movies
cool.
ever.
It's super
Well, I've been
cool.
watching it recently. It's still cool. I still
There's
like
just not
this
much
movie.
there. It's just a cocky pilot. That's
Are
it.
you kidding me?
Am I wrong?
He's a cocky pilot, but he also has emotion.
and a need for speed.
Heart. He has a need for speed. All right? You jerk.
I know. No, I love Top Gun. I watched it yesterday. I got a little emotional at the right parts. And
You got emotional at Top Gun?
Yeah.
You got emotion.
come on, that scene.
Beach volleyball.
Oh, wait. Was that Goose cry? Was Goose?
No,
Goose?
no.
Goose.
But I almost did.
Goose.
Goose. And the volleyball scene too.
You cried at that?
Yeah, Val Kilmer. Right.
By the way, actor Matthew Modine originally was supposed to be Pete Mitchell. And he turned it down.
Yeah.
And I'm glad he did because I think Maverick is like one
Was
of
it
those
a destined role for Tom Cruise?
destined.
I agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely iconic. Probably
Right.
his most iconic role, Maverick.
There's just not much happening there.
Oh, I'm
It's
sorry.
a- no, it's
we
a
can't all
cool-
watch Paul Thomas Anderson
No,
movies.
here's the thing. You're
and drool over
going to
them.
mock my choice, and rightly so, but it's a better character.
Who is it?
And I'm sorry to say this because it's going against every fiber of my being.
Jerry Maguire.
It's Jerry Maguire.
Wow.
I'm voting. Kent Dunn is voting for Jerry Maguire. What world is this?
It's a weird world.
It doesn't make sense. I watched Top Gun and Jerry Maguire yesterday and today.
Shut up. Just shut up.
You had hello.
Go on.
I cried watching Jerry Maguire.
What? I did too.
Thank you, Joel. Thank you. That
was
makes
what-
me feel
that was what I
so
cried
much
to
better.
6 hours ago.
I've seen it many times, and we've talked about rom-coms, and I'm sitting there going, Jerry Maguire, in my head, this is Kent voice. Jerry Maguire is just your standard rom-com. Like, I don't want to watch it. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to watch it. And it's not really rom-com. It's a romance, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't
But
say
the
com.
whole thing is a character piece. And Renee Zellweger is so good in this movie. And the way they play together. And here's the okay, once again, let's go back to synopsis real quick before I get to the crying part. When a sports agent has a moral epiphany and is fired for expressing it, he decides to put his new philosophy to the test as an independent agent with the only athlete who stays with him and his former colleague. Cameron Crowe movie. Once again, another student filmmaker we all loved in the early 2000s. But Jerry Maguire just works for some reason. And this is why I like... And Maverick was almost my choice, Joel. I'll be honest with you. But there's just so much more meat to this character. He's a very flawed and selfish person who has this amazing arc.
Wait, you're saying he's a cocky character who learns a lesson and becomes a better person?
Yes, but it takes 2 hours and 15 minutes to speak through that, not just through montages. Like, this whole movie is great dialogue.
I just watched this one recently, and there was a lot that I'd forgotten about this movie.
I'm sure.
Yeah, it was just,
Right?
It was interesting to me to watch it again and just kind of see the progression of his character, which I did enjoy. I enjoyed it,
But it ebbs and flows, too, because even when, like, oh, that's a good moment for him, no, he's still going to make bad decisions.
yeah. But I do not understand why this movie became such a pop culture phenomenon when it came out, because
It was in the age of soundtracks.
and
Because the
I think
soundtrack is
helped,
phenomenal.
definitely.
Yes.
But like people, the term "show me the money," "you complete me," "you had me at hello."
Yes.
These are all things that became part
Jonathan
of,
Lipnicki.
You know, the human head weighs 8 pounds, but that became part of our pop culture
I think this was
conversations.
destined for Renee Zellweger to become famous.
She actually said that when she got the role for this, she didn't have enough money. She couldn't withdraw any money out of her ATM because she didn't have any left.
Yeah.
Like when she got this
Spent
role.
it all on lemons. That makes sense.
And this is where
Zack.
and this is where we get to the part where you probably got emotional as well. It's right near the end of the movie, and there's just this big sports scene where it seems like a bad tragedy may happen, and then it gets you all emotional.
That
and
part got you?
No, but
Oh.
it leads up to the big romantic element.
Yep.
And that I'm watching this, and I'm like,
Speech in the room with all the
it's a
ladies.
speech in the room with the divorce club.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, he's really putting it out there, and he's good. He's very good.
He is.
But when Renee speaks, I start crying. And I had no one
She
else in the
says,
room.
"Shut up."
Yep, shut up. And I seriously looked around the room. No one else is there. And I said, why am I doing this? Why is this happening right now? I've seen this movie probably 4 times.
Got a secret
You're a softie,
garden
kid.
And the score hit me right at that moment.
Everything you want.
See, I can't do it. But it's so good. And the character, there's so much meat there. I love Maverick.
I thought they had more meat when he was the Last Samurai.
Yeah, that's true. He had to
was
cut
bulked up.
through it. Yeah,
Yeah.
20 pounds of muscle right there.
Yeah.
But no, Jerry Maguire, there's very few Tom Cruise characters where you remember their name. Like Maverick, sure. Ethan Hunt, sure, because we've seen him in a lot of movies. But the movie's called Jerry Maguire, and that sticks.
No, I liked him when he was Taps and Taps. Sergeant Taps and Taps?
Sure. Yeah, so anyways, favorite character.
Wow. I respect your decision. There was something off about the editing for me on this movie when I was watching it. Like it felt like what's that movie? Margot Robbie,
Wolf of Wall Street.
Housing Bubble.
Oh, The Big Short.
Yeah, like that one. I felt like this movie that movie, Big Short, did it better than Jerry Maguire, where it's just kind of jumping around a little bit.
Okay.
Because I kept watching it going, is this, because I was watching it on a TV edit, and I kept being like, is this the TV edit or is this the actual edit? So I'll have to talk to you about it later.
Mm-hmm.
I actually do think that character is a great choice. It's not Maverick, but it's a good choice.
Yeah.
So
The category
here's your consolation
The category
prize.
was favorite character, so
There you
I'm not
go.
sure there's a wrong answer.
There is. You've told me my favorites are wrong many, many times.
Many
on this
times.
Many
podcast.
times.
All right, so Zach,
Yeah.
which Tom Cruise movies would you watch?
Oh,
Have we appealed to you with any of our discussion tonight?
yeah. I think, honestly, I don't know why, but my takeaway is I really want to watch Edge of Tomorrow.
You should.
That one sounds
a lot of
of your
Also,
description.
the one with Henry Cavill?
And
Isn't that a Friends
just
episode?
Generally, I want to rewatch or watch the whole Mission Impossible series.
You should.
Yeah, even the second one. But
We can do it on a sleepover. Bacon
Oh,
sleepover.
okay,
We'll watch
let's do
the
it.
whole thing. Stay up all
Yeah.
night, braiding each other's hair and watching Mission Impossible and talking about which Mission Impossible he's hottest in.
also probably A Few Good Men. I think I would like
That's
that.
a really fun one.
So
All right.
that's what I'll take away from this show.
Nice.
Maybe Minority Report. Maybe.
So all my choices. Good.
Yeah.
I'm happy with this.
We chose the same movies, basically, just in different order.
And we know there are many other Tom Cruise movies out there that maybe even didn't get a mention, and we apologize for that if we left out your favorite. But let us know if we did on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We want to hear from you, hear about your favorites and your least favorites, where you thought he was miscast, where you thought he was good but the movie wasn't. We want to hear about that, so let us know. Before we go, we'd like to give some love to our patrons, which includes the I'm the Listener tier, starting with Shannon West, Sean Sanquist, Ryan and Marley, Lady Terry Finley, Jennifer Kilkowski, Chris Trout, Braden Winterton, Andrew in the Dark, Alicia Bass, and Adam and Rachel Crump. And then we also have the Bacon Council, which includes the one, the only Chris Anderson, Stephen, everyone's favorite Ross, Pants, our favorite couple, the Madsons, Nicole Sitton and the Sin Ben Hale, Josh, Her Royal Highness Jessica Terry, Beaker, Bacon Council member Kyler, and Allison Gall. Thank you, patrons. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
You are the Tom Cruise smile in our lives.
As in, they're in the middle?
Yeah.
But if you want to find me, you can find me at 76Joel on Twitter. You can find me Performing Quickwits. They perform at the Midvale Performing Arts Center. For more details, go to qwcomedy.com or go to the Quickwits Facebook page.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Kenny3DD. You can read my movie reviews at ShowtimeShowdown.com.
If you'd like to connect with me, you can do so at Tumbling Mustard on Twitter and Instagram. But more importantly, make sure you're following Baconsale. Go ahead and like that Facebook page, and then also stop by at Baconsale on Twitter and Instagram. While you're doing that, visit tpublic.com/Baconsale, where you can get yourself a bunch of fun Baconsale merch and rep it just all summer while you're doing your fun
Rep it.
activities. And then if you like the show, you like what's going on here, and you want to support us further, visit patreon.com/Baconsale, where support starts at just $3 a month. You can get all sorts of behind the scenes that you never knew you needed. Patreon.com/Baconsale.
So until next time, listener, you complete me. Help me help you. And show me the comments.
I love off-air, Joel.
I go on tea.
Bye-bye, Wooby.
Woof with Wainwright.
Ho, ho, ho.
Wooby, I miss you. No mention of troubadours.
What?
Like Gene Clavicle. Guys, I know a movie cooler than The Matrix.
Oh, no.
It's Mission Impossible 2.
Do you like Top Gun, Zach?
No.
Is that what beer does to your belly?
We don't know.
What?
Cruise.
What? Cruise?
What? Cruise?
Cruise. Cruise.
Don't cruise. Do you have PTSD from Kush balls?
Yes. Twister is a great Dodge commercial. What was more dead in this movie? Tom Cruise's character or Emily Blunt's eyes? Billy Crudup in this movie?
Crudup. Crudup.
Yeah.
Crudup.
Yeah.
Crudup. That's not a slam to anyone that's 5'7" and says they're 5'9".
5'7's not that tiny. Tell me like my heart. Tell me like my heart, Shannon. Why can't you just tell me you like my heart?
Tom Cruise plays
Cruise.
I cried watching Jerry Maguire.
What? I did too.
A few good-looking men.
Yeah.
Because I hate myself.